All right, let's hit the field.
It is Friday, August 15th, and the Yankees were in the Midwest to take on the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 1 of a weekend 3-game series. Luis Gil on the mound trying to fill the win column for the first time this year. My recap and your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back. Thank you for spending your Friday night with me. I am happy to report that Luis Gil finally did get into the win column, the real deal, for the first time this year. And for the second outing in a row, I thought he looked really solid. 5 1/3 innings of pretty good baseball. I mean, the control wasn't phenomenal tonight. He had 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. We'll spotlight him more in a minute. To me, there was another story, and that is Cody Bellinger. Just flashing the leather again tonight. Great play at first base. Great play in left field to end the game. We had a really big relief outing by Mark Leiter. Came in and got a big double play. Doval, not so good. Gave up a couple of runs, kind of let St. Louis back in. Yankees led early. And then they kind of let the Cardinals make it interesting. And my fingernails are suffering from that. But let's get to the recap, and then we'll spotlight Luis Gil, and then we got Frankie Baseball joining us tonight.
Let's get it going.
So the Yankees did jump out to an early lead, double for Ben Rice. I thought it was interesting that Ben Rice got the start again behind the plate. He seems to be taking more and more starts away from Austin Wells, who was obviously our opening day catcher, led off the season with a home run. But Wells, to be fair, has not performed. He's hitting .206. He got a .672 OPS, so they continue to play Ben Rice. And if Ben Rice is going to hit, he's going to continue to get at bats. And tonight, a multi-hit game. He had his 20th double. He did allow a pitch to get by in a big spot, but .235 average on the season, .785 OPS. You like him to be hitting for a higher average, but the OPS is good. And it's over 100 points higher than Wells, so I expect him to continue to get at-bats and reps behind the dish. So regular visitors of the channel and of the podcast will know that right before a weekend series for the last month or so, we've been doing the DraftKings home run picks. And one of my home run picks for this weekend was Jazz Chisholm, and I'm happy to report destiny has been fulfilled.
That is destiny fulfilled.
21 home runs for Mr. Jazz Chisholm, who I thought was putting it together. Now, obviously, we don't want him to be solely a home run hitter, but it is good that, he can hit home runs, he can steal bases. He stole another base today. He has 18 stolen bases. He's going to go 20-20, not quite going to go 30-30, but having a very solid year. Now on the season, Jazz Chisholm hitting .240 with an .811 OPS. You'd like, again, the average to be higher, but that's the game that we watch these days, right? I mean, guys just don't hit .290, .300 that often anymore. So, I mean, it's the game we live with. It's mostly about home runs and athleticism. But Jazz Chisholm continuing to swing the bat well, a couple of ribbies. And, early strike, but it made the day today. Bellinger, he began the day at first base, turned a beautiful .363. And wherever you put him, he does something great. Phenomenal play in left field as well. I got to say it, and I've been saying it a lot lately. Might be time to extend him.
Pay that man his money.
We'll talk about this with Frankie Baseball. I see him jamming off screen to the sound effects. But yeah, Bellinger, another great night. Exactly the type of player that this organization needs. Don't just pay him, clone him. See if you can figure out how to recreate Bellinger in a lab. Because the man, no matter where you put him, does a great job. Great offensive player, great defensive player. He's got an OPS over 800. Hustles, good guy, love him. Jason Dominguez finally back in the lineup tonight after a few days off. He had an RBI single in the third inning. Beautiful piece of hitting. He went 1 for 4 tonight. Also struck out a couple of times. Also overslid second base. We got a call in about this. He does tend to slide past the base. I can remember it happening a couple of times. I think he waits a little bit too long to slide. But, Kitty, get out of there. I got a cat chewing on some cords underneath the desk trying to sabotage the show. I tell you, these cats, they're getting more and more. You guys remember when they were kittens, Well, now they're starting to become full-on criminals. Anyway, Dominguez should have had second base stolen, but he overslid the bag. Luis Gil, I thought, threw the ball really well. We'll talk more about him in just a second. Big moment in the game came with Mark Leiter getting a double play to get out of a jam in the 6th inning. Fantastic job for him. 7th, the Yankees had runners on 1st and 2nd. Pitcher throws a pickoff play to second base. Nobody was there. Almost decapitated Caballero. Would have been the first player in Major League history to get decapitated on second base. So congratulations to him. But he was able to avoid it. Camilo Doval struggled tonight. I think I just called him Doval. Look, you see why the Yankees got him. Throws 100, has nasty stuff, but you also see why they haven't used him in like the highest of high leverage situations. Command just isn't quite there yet. And again, tonight, gave up 2 runs, a couple of base runners, gave up a walk, gave up a hit, got a 3.44 ERA, 1.30 whip. But I like his stuff. I hope that Matt Blake can turn him into an actual pitcher instead of right now what he is, which is a thrower who relies on stuff. And then, of course, David Bednar came in and shut things down in the 9th, got a couple of strikeouts, but also got a fantastic catch from Cody Bellinger in left field. And the Yankees take game 1.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
Ray Tapia says it almost looked like the Yankees were going to let that one slip away. I agree. I was holding on tight, you know? I have trouble sitting still when a game is close like that, and I'm sitting here and I'm fidgeting with my markers, taking the cap on and off, and I'm readjusting the things on my desk. I just can't sit still. I'm a nervous wreck in games like tonight. But when the Yankees win, I know a lot of you are new and have not been around for a lot of Yankees wins. But when the Yankees win, we give out a little award here. It's called the Belt, and we give it out after each game. And tonight, the winner of the belt, Mr. Jazz Chisholm, 2-run shot, and he is your new sole leader in the clubhouse. 8 belts on the season. Fried and Rodon with 7, Grisham with 6, Bellinger with 5, Judge with 4.5. Who would have thought Judge would be this far down, especially given the numbers? Warren, Rice, Dominguez, Schmidt, Wells, Stanton, all with 3, Escara and Yarbrough with 2, and then Oswaldo Cabrera, Carrasco, Volpe, a few other guys who aren't even on the team. God, Marcus Stroman, Ryan McMahon, and David Bednar bringing up the rear. Let's talk about Luis Gil.
Pitcher spotlight.
So Luis Gil was able to get his ERA down tonight. It's actually 5.14. I'm going to go ahead and adjust that one real quick. It did not update on my screen, so I got to do it manually. But 1.64 whip. So the numbers rounding into place. He only threw 83 pitches tonight, which is fairly efficient, and 50 of them were strikes, but he didn't get the length that we necessarily wanted. He went 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. I thought he threw the ball well. He showed flashes of it in his last outing. We saw the good fastball. We saw a couple of really excellent cutters. We saw some good sliders. And for the most part, like I said, he was efficient. I thought he was going to go deeper in the game. Quick hook. It did seem like he kind of was hitting the wall a little bit in the 6th inning, and that could just be like not being in great shape at this point because he was out for so long. But I thought he really hit his groove in about the 4th inning, had a couple of strikeouts. Really nice performance for the Rookie of the Year. First win of the season. All right, so let's go ahead and...
It's just a reaction.
Let's go ahead and talk with our guy, Mr. Frankie Baseball, Franklin Delano Baseball. How you doing, man?
I am doing pretty good, and this could have been an absolute disaster of a night.
It could have been.
It had all the makings of it. Well, early on, if you thought, well, if the Guardians win and the Yankees lose, it could have been terrible. But then early on, the Jazz home run calmed our nerves a little bit, and then it could have gotten worse. But fortunately, and up 4-0 there, the bullpen, you start to, oh gosh, here we go again. But Bednar closes the deal. Bellinger makes a couple great catches. And we survive, and we gain just a little bit ground on that 3rd wild card spot there between us and the Guardians. So good night in Yankee land.
Frankie, I'm afraid of a few things. I'm afraid of driving over really high bridges that go on for a long time because I feel like the wind is going to pick up and it's going to force me right over the bridge. I'm afraid of poisonous snakes because I don't want to get bit and suffer an agonizing pain and die like that scene in Kill Bill. And I'm really, really terrified of the Yankees having a lead and seeing Aaron Boone walk out to the mound and point at the bullpen and seeing Devin Williams jog in. I live in fear. Do you think we're going to see that again at all this year? Or have we finally learned, have we finally hit enough icebergs that the captain of the Titanic is going to slow down and maybe take some precautions?
I want to believe that Boone has finally wised up and realized that this can't happen anymore. But do you trust him? Do any Yankee fan trust him? Does any Yankee fan think that this love affair with Devin Williams isn't going to continue? Like, I think Bednar is the main closer for now. But I can't, he has to be. But I would not be surprised if anytime in the next couple weeks, Boone just says, we used Bednar yesterday. Let's put Devin in there in a 1-run game in the 9th inning. Would not surprise any of us. And let's just hope it doesn't come to that point because there's other guys. We don't need to keep going to Devin Williams. I remember we had a talk, I think it was in May. We talked about did the Pete Alonso home run ruin Devin Williams? And I think you at the time said it was a little too early to tell. I think it's fair to say now, and maybe playing in New York has that, just a different mentality, but he is clearly not the same pitcher. Whatever has happened, it is the Brad Lidge effect. He has been mostly useless for us all season long, and it is shown here recently. And just thank God that for now, we don't have to go. It is David Bednar is our closer, and that is the way it should be. But don't be surprised if Aaron Boone just decides to throw it out there for old time's sake. Bring Debbie out there.
I like the comment somebody just made, Bednar Bulldog. He really does have that bulldog kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. I was looking for the sound effect that we had last year from Verdugo. Had that dog in him. I guess we'll have to bring that one out of retirement, Frankie. Yeah. I'm loving the Bednar pickup. I wish we could have gotten more out of Jake Bird. I think he's got a good slider, but obviously he needs to refine the command a little bit. You can't throw it down the middle every time. Doval, I think, has a chance to be a really good pitcher, but right now, as I said in the monologue, he's more of a thrower than a pitcher to me. Like, he's a guy who's gotten by on amazing stuff. I mean, he throws 101, right? And he's got a weird, funky arm angle. What I want is for Matt Blake to team up with him and figure out a way to kind of turn him into a deadly weapon, right? I mean, he's got the stuff. Now it's on the pitching coach and the coaching staff to coach him up. Here's another thing I'm afraid of, Frankie. I'm afraid this team is going to do just well enough to get to the wild card round, go maybe 1-2, or lose very early. Maybe they win a first round, maybe they lose in the second round, something like that. And we're going to be right back here with Boone and Cashman next year. It's going to be the same stuff, same approach. Do you share that phobia?
Yes, but I'm also thinking they're not going to fire Boone and Cashman anyway. Like, what could possibly be done that would make Hal fire Boone and Cashman? I just don't see it. I think they're family at this point, especially Cashman, and Cashman seems to love Boone. He defended him today, and that was really just the news you want to hear on a Friday is Cashman coming out there and defending Aaron Boone, and it already made me feel like we were going to lose today. Just seeing those quotes, just realizing that this never ends, but. It doesn't matter. They're going to keep him anyway. I don't see a situation in which anyone here is fired. So I figured if the solution here is either we make the playoffs and we get knocked out in the wild card, or we miss the playoffs, but we end up in the same place, which is nothing changes, I might as well make the postseason again, even though it will not be. I agree with you. I don't see this team making it past the wild card round. I don't see it. There's too many flaws in this team, too many holes, and you got to hope that the pitching is able to turn it on here. And you worry about some of the guys in the pen, and you, of course, Debbie, you hope that Boone doesn't, as we talked about, you don't want Boone to bring him out there again. There's just too many question marks right now. I don't see this team getting past the divisional round, but stranger things have happened in baseball, but this team has got a lot. Even with tonight's win, this team has a lot to do to win over fans and make us think that we're back on the right track.
So we got a comment here from Brian Bashman who says, has anyone noticed that even Michael Kay has turned on Aaron Boone? I've noticed that. Like, he's definitely taken like a firmer stance on Boone and pointed out some of the contradictions more than he has in recent years. And I think part of that is like, you got to speak to your audience, right? I mean, to a certain degree, if your audience is entirely aligned with something, if you take a stance against that, you could lose some of your audience. And I'm typically okay with that, right? I'm going to stick to my audience isn't big enough for that really to matter. If I lose a few people here and there, I'll gain a few others. But Kay has really got to toe that line, right? And also, he works for the Yankees, so it's odd for him to criticize the manager. They don't like that kind of criticism. But I think that in general, New York fans have been kind of suffering, and it was nice to have a reprieve tonight, but still not feeling great. Mets fans, they've got a tough, man. They're kind of looking like we were for a little while there. They lost again today. Soto has 30 home runs. I mean, he's having a good year, but all years people ranting and raving about him. Lindor hit a couple of home runs today. But Frankie, what are your thoughts on the Mets' sudden inability? Is it the pitching, you think?
I definitely think of the pitching. And I will say it has been the only good thing about the last couple months of baseball is that while we have truly, for the most part, sucked, at least the Mets have sucked right with us.
Dodgers have sucked too.
Crazy. 3 of, I would argue, the 5 or 6 teams that we went into the season thinking these teams are going to win the World Series, all 3 of them have had terrible summers. The Dodgers are out of the division lead, and we've talked about the Yankees here. The Mets are falling apart. The other 2 teams, I was thinking the Braves and Orioles have also had, they were out of it before the season started, but I think the only team that from the beginning of the year that you can say has been consistent, that a World Series contender that has been consistent is the Phillies, which is why they're my pick right now.
Who was your World Series pick? Like before
I think it was the Dodgers. It was the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I think it was just too obvious, but
I picked the Braves, and they're 54-68 now. So
just absolutely wild. But
you can't predict baseball, Frankie.
You can't predict baseball, absolutely. But back to the Mets here. Yeah, their pitching right now has been awful. They cannot get any length out of these guys. The bullpen has not been very strong. I mean, they have blown, I cannot even, Mets fans can tell us how many games they've blown here in the last couple of months. It's unbelievable. Again tonight, they had a 2-run lead. Lindor and Soto hit back-to-back. Everyone's feeling good about this stuff. And then the bullpen comes in and blows it again. My potential future brother-in-law is a Mets fan. And he got my sister to be a Mets fan. And so it has been fun to text him over the last couple of weeks, just being like, hey, you suck. And then he'll respond, well, you suck too. So it's been a very bonding experience between the two of us here. But we are looking at the possibility here after tonight. Maybe, it's a little bit less so, but we're looking at the possibility of there being no postseason baseball in New York in October. And you could have gotten 1,000,000,000 odds on that. There was no way that anyone thought that was, let alone one team, both of them. So you hope that for the sake of the city, because the city, we know how much they love their sports, you hope that someone can get in. For our sake, it's the Yankees, but it's not looking good for either team, especially the Mets right now. They're just free falling, and it looks like there's no way out, especially with all the blown leads they've had.
Well, Frankie, I want to thank you for stopping by. We love having you on. I'm going to go a quick DraftKings real quick, then we'll be back to wrap it up. Frankie Baseball, everybody, the one and only. Yo! All right, we'll see you in just a minute, guys. The dog days of summer mean it's time for the boys of summer to kick things into gear. And the best way to cash in on your baseball IQ is with DraftKings Sportsbook. Never bet on baseball before? It is simple. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Here's something special for the first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code FOUL. That's code FOUL for new customers and get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming sources, see dkng.co/audio. All right. I know a lot of you disappointed that we don't wear the victory hat when I've got a guest on because it doesn't fit over the headphones. So I like to demonstrate it and at least have it make an appearance. But no victory hat on my head tonight, but it is still here on my desk where it belongs. But hey, good night for the Yankees. You got to be a little bit worried that Aaron Judge has continued to struggle. 0 for 4 tonight. He did draw a walk. I mean, he's still hitting .330 with a 1.122 OPS, still got 38 home runs. But he's really slowed down, and you have to worry that, perhaps that elbow's giving him more trouble than we want to believe. Caballero had a couple of hits tonight, played a nice game. McMahon had a base hit and a couple of walks. I'm still waiting on McMahon to hit that first home run as a New York Yankee. And then Ericom says, thinks he's walking so much that really messes with Judge's timing. Maybe. I mean, it can't be hard. It can't be easy to only get a couple of pitches to hit a game, right? It's got to be tougher to get yourself out of a slump. Wade Carlson says, stay afloat until Judge turns back into Judge. Let's hope that happens soon. Let's hope he gets back in the outfield soon, too. It's tough to not have Stanton in the lineup, especially after a day off when you know he's rested, know that he's hitting, and he's been deadly, and not having him in there is tough. And tonight, the Yankees had a lot of opportunities with runners on base and couldn't get it done. So, they managed to win the game. Again, it was a home run that made a difference. And tonight, some defense, made a difference from Bellinger and some big outs from Bednar. So, little things coming through, getting it done. Yankees win one more time.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
We had somebody complaining that we were talking about the Mets. Aren't we allowed to revel in the Mets fans' misery on this channel? I mean, well, first of all, we're allowed to do whatever the hell we want on this channel, except show clips from Jaws, apparently. But we are just engaging in a little bit of Schadenfreude. Is that what it is? Schadenfreude? Whatever it is, where you take happiness in the suffering of others, which we are doing with the Mets fans and the Dodgers fans, because we have been suffering ourselves, and you know what? Misery loves company. Speaking of company, I got a friend over. We were having a fire. I took a little break. I was watching the game outside on the fire, by the fire on my iPad, ran up to do the show, and now I'm going to go back down and have a cigar and a glass of wine and call it a week. I appreciate everybody who joined, and we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out NYYDesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.